For today's tutorial, we're going to use Semrush. That tool is my go-to tool. We're also going to look at a client, not my client, but we're going to say this is our client, REI. The reason I chose REI is they're a huge outdoor retailer, big fan. So I definitely think that, they're going to have lots of data to pull and could be a tricky one. So bear with me. But then we're going to look at some of their competitors. We're going to look at Backcountry, Dick's Sporting Goods, Gear Lab, and one more, Sportsman's Warehouse. That was a kind of random one, but they got a lot of outdoor stuff, some camping, boating, cooking. So kind of relevant, ancillary to what they do, very outdoorsy, kind of different vibe, but it'll be a good competitor to look at. So I've already kind of set this up a little bit. I'm going to share my screen. So I went ahead and got this going. So what you're going to see here is Semrush, and we are in the Organic Research tab. Now, a lot of people will do this in the keyword gap tool, which I find is good for getting the Venn diagram, but for doing a deep dive analysis to find out truly the information that you need, this keyword gap, the export doesn't really cut it for me. So I do it a little bit more manually, but the outcome is going to be way better. Trust me on this. Okay, so first of all, what we're going to do is we're going to put in our client right here. So I put in rei.com, and then you can see, okay, so they have a ton of keywords. So you're going to want to use your filters because we do have a limit here. I can only export up to 30,000, right? Keywords. So that's kind of tricky. So like if I were to get rid of all my filters here, you'll see that, REI has 2.2 million keywords. And so if I try to export all of those, it says I only have 30,000 based on my limit. Now there is a workaround, so we're going to do that. But first we're going to use our filters to try to figure out the best way to get this 2.2 million down, this number down. So really the biggest thing is we're not really interested in the brand name. So what we're going to do is we're going to exclude any keyword containing REI. So when I do that, it's going to cut it down from 2.2 to 1.8, which is a huge number still, but it also cut it down tremendously. So that's a good start. The next thing that I want to do is I want to look at keywords that are ranking. So we want to see what kind of keywords they have ranking compared to the competitors. We also want to see what kind of keywords they don't have ranking. So really, it would be good to try to get as many keywords in the top 100 as possible. So, that's going to be a ton of keywords. So what I like to do really is let's narrow it down to like 200. So this is search volume. So I'm going to use this filter and we're going to limit it. So first, I entered, okay, search volume starting at 100. So anything below 100, we are not looking at. That's still a big number here. 734, over 734,000. Let's bump it up to like anything above 300 average monthly. I might even, narrow it down even more. So, I could say informational, like maybe we're only looking for informational keywords. All right, 35,000. So something that you can do is you could do, up to position 10. And that's going to be 20,000. So we're going to export this 20,000. 38. So we're going to have to go down even more, 11 through 30. So at least we'll get the 1 through 30 positions. So that works. All right, so let's export that. So now we've got around close to 60,000 keywords, one in positions 1 through 30, so page 3. So if anything, we're gonna find keywords that they are, they share in the top 10 or the top 30. Anything outside of that, they might rank for, but they're not ranking on page 1. So it's definitely a keyword that we want to isolate and take a further look at. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go ahead and export the other competitors. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to show you how to set up your Excel sheet. All right, now I've exported everything and I've got a bunch of Excel sheets open. It's kind of crazy. So I didn't want to build it and then show you it already done. I kind of wanted to just walk you through the process so you could see it does take a bit of work to do. But we're going to do it together. So I'm going to share my entire screen. So the first sheet that I'm going to show you is the REI export. So this is going to be the top 3 positions. And this is going to be our main analysis doc. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a save as on this, and I'm going to rename it REI competitor ranking analysis. This will be my data sheet. And then maybe you want to put the month and year, so 8/2025. And so now it's saved. And then here, I'm going to put my client's name, REI. And so what I had to do was I had to do a couple different exports and then command paste. So everything's lined up there. Now let's see how many total keywords I have here. I'm going to have a total of almost 50,000. So 47,000 keywords. That's a ton of data to have. And hit save, and then your other sheet, get rid of that so you don't get it confused with your other ones. And then I'm gonna start pulling over more of my competitors. So the next one I did was Dick's Sporting Goods. They had a lot of keywords and so I had to use a lot of filters. So what I'm gonna do I'm going to drag this over and I'm going to show you a trick. It's kind of cool with Excel. But I can drag a whole tab here. I'm going to rename it Dick's Sporting Goods. The other one is going to be Backcountry, and we got about 21,000 keywords. So we got a good amount of data there, but it wasn't, it wasn't 3 exports, so not as many as the others. Same with, so now we have our sheet set up. We're gonna start doing the analysis. I'm gonna do a little more setup. I'm gonna get rid of some columns here just to make it a little bit easier. I'm gonna get rid of all the data in my previous. I'm gonna delete that. I'm going to move the position over 1. Oops. Let me drag it, and then I'm going to move the search volume over 1. You'll see why. Okay, so my 3 main columns that I'm going to use are going to be keyword, search volume, position, and URL. These 2 I like to be centered, but we'll do that all at the end. So now I'm going to create a tab, and I'm going to call it analysis. And I'll move that to the very front. I'll probably move REI to the very back since they are the client that we're looking at. And then I'm going to go through Backcountry and do the same. So instead of deleting the whole column, I'm just going to hit delete and delete the data in that column. So I can move this column over. Same with the search volume, move that over. Again, keyword, difficulty, all that data, just move it to the end. If we need it later, want to reference it later. So I'm going to keep doing that until I am all set with my data. So right now we were in the collect oops, I did it in the data collection phase. Now we're in data scrubbing phase. So now we're done with that cleaning phase. So now I'm going to go and I'm going to take all this data from Dix, copy that, paste it in my analysis tab. Don't forget to hit save from time and time again, just so in case anything crashes, you've got some data saved. All right, so again, Command Shift, arrow down. I've got all of Dix. Now I want to get all of the backcountry keywords. So I'm going to go back to the analysis tab and just start moving this over. Do this a couple different times. All right, so basically what I call this is like stacking all the competitors. So that's pretty much what we did. We stacked all of the competitor ranking data. So I want to make sure that when I'm formatting, I just want to make sure that I've got the entire row selected. And then we're going to right click and you're going to go to format cells, and then you're going to go to number. And I like to format the number here. So that looks nice and clean. So we might say for position, it's competitor position or rank. And then you might want to add in here competitor URL. Okay, now here's where the magic happens. This is the fun stuff. Let's set up for our client to move it over to your analysis tab. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a VLOOKUP formula. We're going to paste our client's data here, delete the search volume, so we don't need that. We're going to pull over our rank position and our ranking URL. So in order to do that, I'm going to have REI rank, and then here is going to be REI URL or ranking URL. You could say ranking URL. Whatever makes sense to you and your client that you're doing this for. So here's where we do the VLOOKUP. So the VLOOKUP is going to be, I can zoom in a little. So the VLOOKUP, you're just going to hit equals, and then you're going to start typing VLOOKUP. Select that, and what you're going to do is you want to look up the keywords in column A. So you select the whole column, and then you do comma, and then you want to do column G. So that's REI's keyword and their position, and then you do column 2 because you're looking up. You want to pull over what's in column H, which is column 2. So column G is 1, column H is 2, and then you do comma and then false. So you want exact match. Hit enter. It's going to give you this weird pop-up. You just say yes, and then you're going to double click on your little square there, and it's going to just run all the way down, and it's going to show you, if it's ranking or not. NA means no data. It's not ranking. Now, we only pulled, I think, like the top 50 or so positions, so it could be ranking like just way lower. Again, keep that in mind. So when you're doing content planning, there might be a page that already exists on the site somewhere. So make sure you double check that. And what you're going to want to do is you copy and paste values. And the reason I'm telling you this is because if I were to if I were like, okay, I did it and I deleted that column G, let's say I just you have to paste values, because if you delete whatever you had in this other space right here, all your data will disappear. So make sure you don't do that. I'm going to hit Control Z, and I'll probably get a pinwheel again. I'm just going to want to do copy paste. Make sure you get your values in there. Strip out that VLOOKUP formula. So now when I click in here, there's no VLOOKUP formula. And then we want to pull over. We're going to do another VLOOKUP for the ranking URL. So now we're going to do VLOOKUP. You're going to look at your keyword, do comma, again, select keyword, and this time you want to go all the way to the URL. And since that is the third column over, you're going to hit comma 3, comma false for exact match, hit enter. And then you're going to double click on your little square guy there, and I'm going to insert another column here, and I'm going to title this one themes. So that's going to be any kind of content theme that you find, and then you're going to start playing with filters. So I know a lot of times the first thing that you'd want to do is a lot of times you're going to want to see like, okay, what are the highest ranking keywords, and you can sort by descending. You can do that. You can see kayak is the highest search volume keyword. RAI is ranking pretty good, up there with Dix at position 3. That's solid. Actually outranking Dix for the keyword kayak, so that's good. You know, the way that I look at this is I actually start to, I'll sort by ascending, and then, you know, I'll kind of look for any kind of, you know, keywords to start pulling from here. The thing about this is numbers usually always are first, and here with Sportsmans, there's a lot of guns. I don't know if anyone else carries guns, so maybe this wasn't a good one to look at. I was gonna say, I think Dick's Sporting Goods actually carries guns. But there's not a ton of keywords in here around guns, so you know, you can delete those or filter those out if you want. But I will say, then you get into like weights. So we have like, it looks like, or a 10-person tent. REI is ranking for that. So I'm going to go back to the top here, and the goal really for this is to find a keyword that REI is not ranking for, or is like ranking lower for. If you want to just focus in on keywords that are not ranking for at all, you can hit NA. And so now this narrows it down like a lot. Now we know these are keywords that our competitors are ranking for, that REI is not ranking for in the top 30. We might want to focus in on first, like, blog content. And so what I do with that is I will say contain blog. If there's a blog, nobody has a blog URL. That's interesting. Okay, so like, let's go to topics. Okay, so Outdoor Gear Lab has topics, a ton of topics here. Well, they would, because I think that they're a review site. So that's kind of interesting. So they're a good one to look at. So now we are filtered by topics for them, and we're gonna filter by ascending. So URL by ascending. So here's some interesting keywords that we could maybe take a look at. So we have bike cargo, bike camper trailers, cycle GPS. So, but you could start here. Let's go ahead and start here and say, we're going to use our filters again. We're going to say contains camp. So there's a ton here. So REI camp stoves, they should be ranking higher up top, I feel like, for those. They're probably ranking for some, but not these. These could be potentially topics they could write about. You know, best camping stoves, stuff like that. So maybe we do camp stove, just to narrow it down. And I'm liking that. So I'm going to say a theme is camp stove. It's more specific, right? Camp stove is a good one, but they're not ranking on page 1. So this could be an opportunity for them to expand on, you know, portable camp stoves and camp stoves. So they could do a blog, if they don't have one already, about like cooking while you're camping and the essentials around that. That would probably be a good topic to include a lot of their different accessories here. So I'm gonna end there. I think you get the picture. I would just take your client's website and I would probably go through all the top categories and then start using my filters here and start drilling down. And then plug in your themes here, because you're gonna wanna summarize this later. And I'll show you a way to summarize that later. in a really nice way for the client. So this is the step 1 competitor ranking analysis data sheet. The next video is going to be summarizing all your findings. So I'm gonna continue to go through this, and I'm going to analyze the data, and then we're going to pick it up in competitor ranking analysis video 2, where we'll summarize it all up in executive summary, and then we'll go to video. I think I'm going to do another video 3, on the next steps and action items, and how to really use this to improve. You could generate a content strategy, or you could identify low-hanging fruit opportunities and start optimizing right away to get your clients results right away. So thanks for following along. Hope you learned some valuable things along the way. If you have any questions or you need me to explain something further, please go ahead and leave a comment.